Okay, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting, July 8th, 2026. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:01. And we have just one commissioner absent today, and that's our Vice Chair, Richard Howard, but we do have a quorum. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, we do have, our next item is a citizen comment period. We do have one citizen that signed up, Bruce Stan, I'm sorry, I can't read the last name, but if you're here to speak on agenda item 4.3, you could speak on it, or you could wait until the public hearing. It's entirely up to you.
I'm not sure if it's directly applicable to that or not, regarding the drainage, my concern.
Okay. Yeah, please take the podium. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Bruce Stanfill. I'm at 8602 Turner Ridge, the far corner down there. But I know one of the concerns that will come up on the zoning commission is the drainage. My understanding of a detention pond or retention pond, whichever one, it's supposed to withhold storm water and then release it gradually. So I live right next door to the big one at the back of the horseshoe, Turner Ridge and Cedar Cavern area. And it never fills up more than a half to maybe 2/3 of the bottom layer. There are no filters or funnel. It's basically a funnel as opposed to a detention or retention pond. So I would just like the city to consider in future designs that if it's supposed to detain water, that it would have a nozzle type exit so that it takes the recommended 24 to 36 hours to drain. Right now, I've never seen it hold water more than a couple of hours after even torrential downpours. So I see the erosion that causes back into the lot of question. So that's my comment, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 4.1, we have the minutes that were provided in your packet. You all had a chance to review those minutes. Any comments or edits that, can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes?
Rod Apgar, I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Have a motion, do I get it? Can I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Thank you. So we are, item 4.2, items applicable to the Planning and Zoning Commission discussed at the City Council meeting. The one item that I have that the city approved the final plat establishing the Grace Covenant Church, and that was approved back not at the last City Council meeting, but the month prior. And that's all I have. Brian, is there anything else?
No, sir. The city council approved the Public Works manual. That was the addendum to the subdivision ordinance that was recently adopted by council that went through
Okay.
P&Z a few months ago as well.
I got a question for I'm next to this property where the water's coming through for, he's talking about the drainage system.
Oh, sir.
I'm worried about the drainage also.
So
Sir.
that can be, we're going to have a public hearing on
Yeah,
that, so you have to.
Yes, thank you.
Chairman, that's the only applicable item that was relative to P&Z that was done
All right.
this last council meeting.
Thank you, Brian. moving on, before we go into item 4.3 on the public hearing and the recommendations for the city council for the proposed rezoning development, Ryan, would you like to do an intro to this item or is there anything that you'd like to discuss prior to this item because I know we have our
I can,
developer in a small presentation.
I can cover a couple bullets here that I have. And then we have the applicant here from Scott Felder Homes to provide a presentation, give you all an overview of the project. But Scott Felder Homes is requesting a rezoning of approximately 20.6 acres at 8474 Binesell from agriculture to residential estate. The request supports the development of High Grove, what looks to be a third thoughtfully planned residential community that's consistent with Garden Ridge's vision for low-density, high-quality residential growth. Proposed development includes 20 single-family lots, each with a minimum lot size of 3/4 of an acre, maintaining the spacious estate-style character. Size and layout of the development provides an appropriate transition from the current agriculture use. Homes are planned to be arranged from 2,800 square feet to 4,000 square feet. Anticipated home values of $895,000 to $995,000. This homes represent a significant investment. Those are just some high points of the project. For economic purposes, project will provide a positive fiscal impact by expanding the city's ad valorem tax base, while also creating additional water utility customers, generating water revenue, and supports the city's utility system without requiring high-density development. So those are some bullets. Like I said, the applicant is here. He can provide a presentation and overview. If you want that done before the public hearing, that can be done, or it can be done after the public hearing in this case.
I think it'll be good just for the commission and our residents here to speak, to have a quick highlight presentation from our.
And again, some of the things that come from this, you know, they're going to have to adhere to the new subdivision ordinance that has, you know, again, the drainage improvements, those kind of things are all going to have to adhere to those things, since that was recently done as well. So,
Okay.
but the applicant is here, and he can.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's important that you remember that we are here for a zoning change, a rezone.
Oh, that's correct.
Nothing more.
Right.
So we need to stay on task, because that's all we're doing here. And all you're gonna do is recommend it to the city council,
That's
yea
correct.
or nay,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you,
Just
Dan.
rezoning.
Yeah, and when you start getting into drainage and engineering, all of that's
Yeah.
gonna be done during the development review process. So,
Right.
good.
Thank you. So can we have Mr. Marcus Moreno, a representative for Scott Felder Homes, has a short presentation just to give us a good
Hi,
idea. Thank you.
is this thing working? Yep, okay. So I'm with Scott Felder Homes. My name is Marcus Moreno. I do all their real estate development. Scott Felder Homes is a private home builder. We build in about 25 communities in San Antonio and Austin, primarily. We also have a operation in Denver. It's not called Scott Felder. It's under a different brand. So mostly we're move-up builder, and we take pride in the homes we build. We, like I said, we're private. We look for these type of projects in Central Texas, in great markets where we can build quality homes and frankly, low competition as well. We look at this project as an estate community. It's right at the corner of Benzo and Bat Cave. It's about 20.6 acres. It was an estate that was owned by the Millers for quite a while, I believe over 20 years. And then they've decided to sell it. And we've been working with them for about 6 months, going through our feasibility and making sure that the project would work, working on layouts, meeting with some of the city staff. So if you go to the next slide. This was a zoning exhibit that we submitted. It's about 20 lots exactly on the 20 acres. They're all 3/4 acres. We're here to ask that it be rezoned from AG to RE, which is residential estates. You can go to the next one. So this is the layout. It's pretty simple. I mean, we came in several different ways, trying to figure out how to really maximize the layout of the homes. There still be some tweaks as we get more into the engineering, if we're successful in rezoning the property. Y'all's minimum lot size, we're adhering to all that. It's all 3/4 acre. It will be septic. Base home price, we believe will be about $799,000 to $1 million. A lot of that's going to depend on the final lot cost, so that could go up a little bit. And right now, we estimate that it'll be about $2,600 will probably be the smallest home we market. More than likely, that'll sell more in the 3,000 square feet, up to about 4,800 square feet. You can go to the next slide. Just some examples of, some of the homes we build in our state lots. I mean, they're fairly large. Architecturally, we spend a lot of time, really studying the market, what people are looking for. We'll adhere to all the requirements in the city of Garden Ridge on how the elevations are supposed to be and garages and things of that nature. Last slide is just a little bit about Scott Felder Homes. We've won Builder of the Year in Austin and San Antonio for 21 times. We consider ourselves a premier builder. We've been looking for a project in Garden Ridge. It's hard to get into the projects in Garden Ridge, and we think we will work very well with your existing group of custom and other builders like Toll and Sitterly and some of the other builders. We build with them in a lot of our communities. So that's really it. I'm here to answer any questions you might have. I'm not an engineer. I can't really speak to the drainage. I mean, we are using Pape Dawson Engineering, who will be designing the subdivision. They have done some preliminary designs to look at the drainage, some of the neighboring communities, utilities, obviously water, which we've also met with the city and discussed. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Moreno.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Moreno? Well, I really appreciate the update, the presentation. Thank you. Okay, so now item 4.3, it is 6:14. I'll be opening the public hearing and recommendation to the City Council related to a development application by Scott Felder Homes, LLC, on behalf of Bradley K. and Tamara L. Miller for zoning change, rezoning from agricultural homestead AG district to residential estate RE district for a 20.16 acre tract of land conveyed to Bradley K. Miller and Tamara L. Miller by deed recorded in document number 200-3060-22-245 of the official public records of Comal County, Texas, out of the Vincent Michelli survey number 114 abstract 383, and further described as at 8474 Benzau Lane in the city of Garden Ridge, Comal County, Texas. So just a little bit of a process for the public hearing. For the residents that are here to speak, if you could please come up to the podium, and you'll have 3 minutes, and if you could just state your name, and then once you're done, you could sign. There's a sign-up sheet on the table right behind the podium on that first table when you walk up. And if there's anyone wanting to speak on this item, the public hearing is open.
which I'm on the back end of the property. I'm just more worried about the drainage more than anything, because the new subdivision put it down through my front yard that's across the street from it. They put out that big
Sir,
tube.
excuse me, can you just state
Oh.
your name first, please?
Earl Coran, sorry.
Okay.
And, like I said, what are they gonna put up for, is there gonna be like fencing or some kind of cover is what I'm curious? Like, is there gonna be some kind of privacy on the yards, or how is it gonna be? Just like I said, the drainage is the main problem. I just, because it's coming down my front yard, and I have a retention pond in my yard already. And it's definitely coming down right through the back end of the property that they're purchasing. So I don't know where it's gonna go. This is the only problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on behalf of this item? Oh. Hello.
Hello, my name is Glenn Dodson. I live on Cedar Cavern. Our property behind our house is the Miller property behind us. I'm just going to rattle off some questions that I'm sure won't be able to be answered until later, but these are my concerns. So, and I'm not for or against. I'm just asking questions to gather information. So let me preface it with that. A question I would have to the developer is describe how the grading of the property, the changes to the grade of the property are going to affect the drainage. That's what I'm interested in as well. Our property slopes down, and so everything drains actually towards the Miller property. And so I'm concerned about stuff coming back at me. Because right now we don't have any issues, and so I don't want any issues going forward. Next thing is how will the utilities enter the property? Is it all coming in through Ben Seal? Is it going to be part of the utility easement that's behind our property and between us and the Millers? Is that easement, I think, is owned by the city of Garden Ridge. What, if anything, is going to change in that easement that's back there? Because right now it's just shrubberies and stuff growing, and we don't manage it. You know, trees fall over back there; they fell over. For example, is high-speed internet coming to their neighborhood? We don't have it in our neighborhood, and I'd like it in ours if they're going to get it too. Are they, I guess just on a curiosity, are they going to clear cut all the trees? Are they going to leave as much as they can? And what's the impact to the animals that are there? Like if there's snakes and raccoon and possum, is that going to shove them all over into my yard? I'm curious how they're going to kind of manage that. So, I guess back to the drainage, what guarantee will we have that the drainage at the end of the day, if they go forward with this, what guarantee are we going to have that there's not going to be a negative impact on our existing properties? Because to my knowledge, none of us have any issues. I'll let everybody else speak for themselves, but we don't have any drainage issues. I'd like to keep it that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Evening. My name is Kimberly Shimmick, and I live in the woods of Garden Ridge, so not too far from the area that we're talking about. I personally am not for the rezoning change, so I made a couple of notes before we started. We're only here to talk about the rezoning, so if I just focus on that, preferring agricultural area over residential right now is my preference, and I think you'll hear from other people, or you'll hear a lot on the internet from other people, their thoughts on the rezoning. Something else that I did, just a real quick search on ChatGPT. When you look at the information in the area, and I'm sure you guys have seen, homes are not moving right now. I have a couple friends that are realtors. I'm hopeful that that's going to be something that would be looked at, is the realty side of this and how many properties are currently available in Garden Ridge today, But then I would also encourage you to take a look at the surrounding area, because even just outside of the city of Garden Ridge, the homes that are not moving, it's a pretty high inventory situation. And a lot of homes that are being put up on the market, taken down for a handful of days, put up under another realtor because they're trying to kind of play the numbers game on how long they've been trying to sell their properties. So I'm not sure that we necessarily need another 20 homes, and it'd be great if we maybe could look at other areas if we do need more home inventory in the Garden Ridge area, because that particular road is extremely difficult to traverse today. So I imagine if we spend another couple years developing it and we've got kind of the bad traffic back and forth, that would be a concern for most of us that live in that particular area. And just the ability for that road to withstand that traffic, I think that's gonna be a concern. So I think in the end, if that's something that you guys could take a look at, and then there's another neighborhood, I can't remember the name of it, but just off of Schoenthal, if you take a look at the work being done off of Schoenthal and how horrible that intersection is of trying to be, go back and forth from school, Rockwall Ranch, all the people driving from over there to try to get to the two schools. It's a pretty concerning and dangerous environment. So I'm not sure that 20 homes is necessarily worth that to all of us. And then the loss of the ag land, for me, would be a concern. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ruby Montez Wills. I'm at 8467 Benziel Lane, exactly across the street from the entrance of where the new subdivision would be. So I kind of wrote down some things too. Also use ChatGPT. It's first time kind of coming here, so I'll start now. But I'm not here to say that I'm against development, right? It's going to be needed, but I think that we need to base it on some facts to rezone it versus just some conclusions that are made on that document that was sent to us. I think one of the main concerns, just as she mentioned, is traffic. Currently residing right there on Benziel Lane, there is so much traffic there. It's like a highway. When 35 is congested with traffic, the GPS systems are referring people to 2252. And when that's congested, which it always is right now, it's deferring them all parallel to Benziel Lane. So you can tell every day when there's an accident on 35 because our street is literally a highway. So I think having that subdivision there and an entrance there is going to be extremely concerning, especially right across the street from our house. I think also what we need to consider is the future. I know that it kind of talks about a proposal of how many in and out kind of traffic that we're gonna have based on the documents that were sent to us, but it doesn't include the future of like Amazon deliveries, UPS deliveries, trash, emergency services. There's gonna be one entrance to that entire 20 home subdivision, and it's gonna be on a very busy road that's already congested as it is. To get to Benziel Lane, you have to drive down either Marbach or Bat Cave, which is also already highly congested, especially with all those new subdivisions that are being built around the area. Somebody said something about, well, we need more tax revenue to fix those roads. The reason the roads are needing to be fixed is because there's already so much traffic there coming to the other homes that are being built in the area. Some of the other concerns are air quality, right? As we've kind of demolished all those trees, how many trees are we demolishing? What about the water supply? Have we looked into that? I guess just making sure that there's been a study. I've not seen anybody kind of take a look into what the traffic looks like today. I know right now it's a little less busy because school's not in session, but once it does come back, I think it'd be interesting to see what the traffic looks like today and what it could look like with this new subdivision. But yeah, I think just having some facts around what that revenue is really gonna bring. I don't really see any breakdown of that on the documents of how this will help us as a city. I think there's many, many trees there that would be demolished, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was hoping to be the last one because I'm going to blow everybody out on this one. Sharon Stripling, 21729 Forest Water Circle. I'm probably the only one not against it. I've lived here for 36 years. I've seen that loop built, all these neighborhoods around, and I do not see where, from my viewpoint, where 20 more homes are gonna make that big of a difference. We're already getting flooded in forest waters, but that's another day, from the drainage off the road. So I'm not really against y'all rezoning it. I just, we all have drainage problems in Garden Ridge if you're in certain spots. So I think it's a good way to, we can't get businesses yet, so we need to do that. And 20 more homes, maybe my taxes will go down, so.
Thank you.
My name is Ronnie Bolt. I live on Goldenrod Circle. Not anywhere close to what's being built, but as my biggest concern of all concerns, and New Braunfels already had 2 subdivisions halted due to lack of water, where's the water coming from? Period, end of question. Where's the water? If I turn my hose on right now, I gotta wait 5 minutes for water to come out the end. So I'm a little concerned when we build 20 houses of that caliber, all 20 of them are gonna have swimming pools. You can bank on that. Where is the water coming from? Period, end of story.
Good evening. My name is Malcolm French. I live on Cedar Cavern right down the street from Mr. Dotson. So the Miller property is behind my house. My first thought when I saw this is it looks like they've really worked hard to jam as many houses into that 20 acres as they can. I know they met the 3/4 acres, but if you figure every one of those houses is going to have 2 to 3 cars each, there is only one entrance into that subdivision. All of those 40 to 60 cars are going to be coming out, in and out on Benzile Lane. Right now, a lot of people coming from 3009 coming south are turning onto Schoenthal, Bat Cave, Benzile Lane to bypass traffic to get to FM 2252. So I think the traffic on Benzile is going to increase tremendously. Right now there's a lot of traffic on Benzile. Benzile is not like Bat Cave. It's very narrow, and so it's going to be difficult for those 20 homeowners to get in and out of that community. So my big concern was traffic and congestion. Let's see. If you go out Bat Cave, there are the 2 new communities out at the end of Bat Cave before it makes the 90-degree right turn, Heimer Estates, and the other community across the way. So all of that traffic, as those communities are built out, is going to be coming in Bat Cave, and probably turning on Benzile to get to FM 2252. So just a lot of traffic, and the wildlife displacement. We have wildlife in our area now. That's probably all going to go away. So it would be, whenever there is an election in Garden Ridge, all of the politicians say, we promise that we're going to keep Garden Ridge the way it has been in the past. And by building more and more homes, that's not happening. It's going in the wrong direction. So I really, if y'all are the Zoning and Planning Commission, if you could really look at the impact this would have on the community, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Miller Welty. I don't believe related to the Millers that are selling the property. However, I am related to Harold and Ramona Miller, the founders and original developers of Garden Ridge, as their oldest grandchild. My first, most concern is definitely the water. While I don't live within the city limits, I don't live too far outside of the city limits, And I am on a well, thank God my grandpa dug 600 feet, because the people two streets in front of me, their well went dry a few years ago and they had to have water shipped in. I can't imagine how that would happen to a whole city. I really am concerned about the water. Taking away the land and putting concrete down prevents the water going down through the karst system into the aquifer. So that is a real big concern of mine. I'm also concerned about the bats. We have the largest Mexican free-tailed bat colony in the world. It's an endangered species. And all this building, I'm really concerned on the effects it's having on them. Lastly, the traffic and the wildlife. My grandparents wanted to keep the wildlife and as much as the natural environment in place while building these homes. The wildlife will be displaced, causing more traffic problems. As you see, all the dead poor little deer on the sides of the roads now. We were at the 4th of July parade this past weekend. I was on the float and we were all watching this baby deer trying to jump the fence, and it wasn't making it. And we were all like, go, oh, you poor baby. And finally it went around, and we were all just so happy for it. So take that into consideration. While I do appreciate the guidelines you guys kept in line with my grandparents' vision with 3/4 acre minimum size lots and minimum sized square footage of homes, I really just don't think this is a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this item before I close the public hearing? Marissa?
Yes, so we did have 2 written comments that were submitted that I will read at this time. The first one is from Brian and Gwen Cobb at 20523 Cedar Cavern. We are writing to formally express our opposition to the proposed rezoning of the property located at 8474 Benzile Lane from agricultural to a 20-home residential site. As the owners of the property located at 20523 Cedar Cavern, which shares a direct property boundary backing up to the subject site, we are concerned about the negative impacts this will impose on our immediate property, neighborhood, and the broader Garden Ridge community. The city's master plan explicitly prioritizes the preservation of our low-density rural hill country character. Since building our home 8 years ago, a subdivision of 110 home sites was put in directly across Benzile Lane from our street. And as of early this year, a 2.826 acre lot at the corner of Benzile Lane and Bat Cave Road has been approved for a church. Further down Bat Cave Road, 2 other large developments have emerged. Although not within city limits, the residents utilize the city roads, specifically Bat Cave Road and Benzile Lane. Our immediate roadways are semi-rural and not engineered to safely support the current daily, let alone increase of traffic. The narrow surrounding infrastructure lacks the capacity for safe travel flow, as Benzile Lane is the only means of ingress and egress for the majority of properties situated along this road. Replacing 20 acres of open, absorbent agricultural soil with impervious residential surfaces introduces possible risk to the delicate Edwards Aquifer recharge zone and increases localized stormwater runoff. Comal County faces persistent long-term groundwater strains. Introducing more residential utility demands onto this acreage places more burden on our shared local water tables and existing municipal infrastructure. This rezoning will increase property taxes, introduce more noise and artificial light, displace wildlife, remove native vegetation, and obstruct the visual beauty and privacy of our peaceful surroundings. We chose our lot specifically for the aesthetic view of nature, not looking at others' backyards and fences. As elected officials for the City of Garden Ridge, a primary responsibility is to ensure that the will of the residents is paramount in your decision-making process. We therefore request that you take our protest into consideration when rendering your vote on whether this property is rezoned for residential use. The next comment is from Richard and Lindsay Ure at 8364 Benzile Lane. We strongly oppose the proposed development of 20 new homes on the site adjacent to our property. Our primary concern is stormwater drainage and flooding. Benzile Lane runs perpendicular to natural landscape swells in this area. Our property sits at the bottom of these swells, while the proposed development site is located at the top, immediately adjacent to us. Water flows directly toward our property and those of our neighbors. Over the past 3 to 5 years, as the Woods subdivision has been developed, we have experienced significantly increased stormwater runoff. This has resulted in more than 12 inches of topsoil deposited at the back of our property, pushing our fence outward, erosion that is unearthing buried electrical conduits, similar erosion issues reported by our neighbor on his property. These problems did not exist prior to recent upstream development. Adding 20 more homes at the top of the swell will predictably worsen runoff volume and velocity onto our property and neighboring lots. We ask the Commission who will be held responsible for the increased costs of fences, dirt work, structure repairs, and other remediation if this development proceeds and causes additional damage. Has a detailed stormwater drainage and downstream impact study been completed that fully accounts for cumulative effects from existing and proposed development? One potential mitigation could be the installation of an adequately sized underground culvert to safely convey water past the affected residences. We are prepared to provide photographs and documentation of the existing erosion and flooding issues. We also note that some directly impacted neighbors may not have received proper notice because their properties are not immediately adjacent. We respectfully urge the Planning Commission and City Council to deny this application or require major modifications, including robust stormwater controls that fully protect downstream properties. And that is all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Marissa. If there's anyone else that would like to speak before I close the public hearing, this is your chance. Okay. Well, it's 6:38 p.m. and I'll be closing the public hearing. And now, is there any? Now I'll open up the item or any concerns or discussions from the planning and zoning.
Yes, if you don't mind, make just a couple comments. So I certainly empathize and sympathize with some of the more major challenges, if you will, that were brought up: the utilities mapping, the foliage, trees, the wildlife and such, the drainage concerns that are out there, the traffic concerns that are out there. I think I may have written down the name correctly, but about the traffic on 2252, I experienced that backflow when 35 goes down, if you will. So I can understand how that concern exists also out there on Benzile. Certainly the condition of the road and how potentially get worse, that kind of thing, and the depletion of our water resources, which is a big deal. From what I understand, our job for the Planning and Zoning Commission is to review variances and then compare those requests, the variance requests, to what's in our city ordinance, our master land use plan, excuse me, and associated laws and ordinances. And as I look at that, it seems to match up with our master land use plan, page 39, that's found on our city site. So with that, I again empathize with the concerns that were brought up. I've certainly experienced firsthand some of the things that that folks have related, and/or can empathize deeply with it, especially having different construction projects done and different construction projects not done properly or not done to specs. So I just want to emphasize to research appropriate laws and ordinances, understand what makes sense, and express those concerns that you have. I think here is an appropriate place, but also to the city and city council meetings. Ask the questions of the city leadership, and then again, just to make a note that humans and pros make mistakes. Trust but verify. So that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Maloney?
So to piggyback on the other commissioner's comments, I have to agree. I wanted to pick up and go back through ordinance 131024, looking at subsection 2.02 residential zoning district. Agriculture 2.02-1, agriculture and agricultural homestead district versus the residential estate is what we're talking about, and the intent of each. And having read them both, I think that we, along with our residents, need to understand that the master plan, after it was developed, and accordingly, we developed this ordinance, and it looks like they follow the letter of the law when they put together their petition for the rezoning of this property. So that's it.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. But if there's no further comments, I'd like to, our next, it would be our action item is for the approval for the rezoning from agricultural homestead district to the residential estate district. Can I get a motion? Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, this is Rod Apgar, and my comment that I would like to make is, I think the presentations tonight were great. I think the homeowners that came up raised some very good questions as to whether or not we should consider rezoning or not rezoning. And maybe this is out of line, maybe this can't be done, but before I make an affirmative vote to rezone, I would like to see the developer answer some of these questions. Or maybe this, we rezone it and then we don't let him build if he doesn't answer the questions. I'm not real sure which comes first, the chicken or the egg in this, but I do have the same concerns as what was raised up, especially with water, traffic, and our wildlife. And that's one of the reasons why I personally moved to Garden Ridge, was the wildlife. So is it fair to have the developer come back and answer some of these questions before we say rezone? Or do we say rezone and then he answers the question?
The applicant's here, he can speak to some of the things that were brought during the public hearing. Again, if you remember, we just updated the subdivision ordinance. That's gonna cover a lot of those areas related to drainage and trees, and so those, we've kind of solidified that ordinance and through y'all's help to city council. But if the applicant would like to, come back and answer anything related, obviously he has an engineer, Pape Dawson. They followed everything from what our current ordinances say, again, from what utilities will happen between us providing water with the city and CPS providing the electrical. During the development application process is when some of those things come out, because we'll have the plans reviewed by our third party, and they'll say that they didn't meet this or this within the code. But yeah, I mean, right now, we're specifically talking about what the rezoning is, right? The land itself, right? And that's what P&Z is supposed to do. I mean, it does eventually, it possibly opens up the city for exposure for litigation down the road too. So I have to let you all know that, and I have to let city council know that. Our city attorney can let you know that as well, because there is that aspect. But Marcus, if you have any feedback or any input from any of the comments, that'd be great, if that would be helpful to y'all.
And remember, we're only talking about rezoning here. We're not talking about anything else but rezoning, a zoning change.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Yeah, and I understand that. This is Rod Apgar. I do understand that. But I guess I get confused at which comes first. the chicken or the egg.
Well-
So if we say, yeah, rezone, but then we don't like everything that the developer comes up with and we keep denying it, is that the correct process and is that fair for the developer? So I'm trying to balance this to make sure everything is met.
Well, but tonight, though, all you're doing tonight is just simply saying yay or nay to the rezone.
Right.
That's it. Now, the subdivision ordinance that we have enacted a month or so ago, that is bringing new things in for the city of Garden Ridge, making everything better as far as the subdivision ordinance. We're away from ordinance 13. So the bottom line is it's either a yay or nay. That's all we're discussing tonight, either yes or no, rezone. And everything that's after that will just be what it'll be.
Yeah, I think I need to come up here and at least say a couple things because all these people came to speak. So I know development sometimes is difficult, and we feel like we're going to try to do the best we can to develop this site. We're not trying to go down to half-acre lots or smaller lots for any reason. We tried to follow y'all's ordinance and just lay it out exactly the way the land use plan was planned. Trees sell houses. I mean, we're not going to remove any more trees than necessary. I mean, obviously, you will have to remove some trees in order to put in roads and water lines. So there's no way to avoid that, but everybody wants trees on homes. We're not planning to, mass cut the site, and we're hoping as much as possible. I mean, obviously we have to get the drainage from, one place to the back where there's going to be a detention pond. So a lot of that stuff will have to be done. I mean, there's no way to avoid it. But around houses, I mean, we hope to have as many trees that are out there as possible. I wrote down some of the comments that some of the citizens had. Fencing. We'll try to keep the fencing as minimal as possible. We love to keep views in the back of yards. I mean, these are large yards. A lot of times, we try to just leave them natural. I mean, if a homeowner wants to come in and put wrought iron fencing in later, or if the city requires certain type of fencing, I mean, all that'll be followed. These are pretty large lots. I mean, a lot of times people just like to leave them natural to where, they're not overwatering or doing things like that. I mean, it's very trendy to do things like this right now, to not use as much water. I know a lot of people are going into more rock landscaping with things like that. So, these are just normal things that are kind of transitioning in the whole state of Texas, frankly, because we all have water problems. I do feel like it is just 20 homes, and I know everyone says, well, yeah, it's 20, but then the next subdivision will have 20 more. But I do feel like, the Millers, have decided to sell the property, and I feel like, they've chosen us to build a nice community there, and I feel like it will happen. Some of the traffic on Benzel, I can't guarantee this, but I think at some point, that road will be improved. And, I know there's been some discussions that we've talked about where that road hopefully at some point will get improved. And, I drove out here from San Antonio, and I saw a lot of improvements underway, and I think that'll help a lot as well as some of that construction is finished. Let's see what else was brought up. Water. Obviously everyone's concerned with water. That will all be studied. I mean, we cannot build a subdivision without water. So, we are within your city limits. And as far as I know, no one's told me that there's not water for a 20-lot subdivision. So if there is no water, we cannot build a subdivision. We're not drilling wells or anything. It will have to be with the city's water supply. So, anyway, so I hope I answered some of the questions. I know they're not perfect. Wildlife, I think we all are concerned with wildlife. I mean, there will be homes. I mean, sometimes that helps with wildlife by, allowing them to move in different locations. I mean, I know this property is very overgrown right now as it is because it's just been sitting there vacant for a while. So, sometimes that helps by just the fact that you can't even, there's no maintenance of it right now. So sometimes that benefits wildlife, sometimes it's different. So I hope I answered as many questions as I could. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Real quick, Chairman, so on the side of where the city, we're in the process of putting a street CIP together, and Benzel was identified as some that needed work. We do have some restricted funds for this type of thing where there's a development coming, we can help put dollars towards the improvement of the road. But in this case, we would wait till this is developed out and then improve by itself. The developer is going to improve the road as much as he can or she can as far as the frontage. And then there was a question about utility access that'll run down sort of the right-of-way of Benzel to connect for the neighborhood there for the water utilities. So.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So now, now for the action item is, now this is a recommendation to the city council from the rezoning the property from ag to residential. So I just need a motion.
I'd like to put forward a motion to recommend approval to City Council on the development application by Scottfelder Homes LLC on behalf of Bradley K. and Tamara L. Miller for a zoning change rezoning from agricultural homestead district to residential estate district for a 20.16 acre lot of tract land conveyed to Bradley Miller and Tamara Miller as described further in the business items bullet 4.3.
I have a motion for the approval. Second.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye. Motion approved. Thank you.
Can you call for a vote again, please?
Yes. You have, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner.
Aye.
Commissioner.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we have four ayes and one nay.
It would be 3 ayes and 1 nay. The
I mean,
motion
3 ayes,
passes. The
right.
chair doesn't vote unless there's a tie.
That's right.
But the motion passes. I just needed on record that somebody voted no. I don't
Okay.
think that was clear before.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Item 4.4, future agenda items. Ryan, is there?
I don't think there's any future agenda items. I'm trying to think real quick now. We'll let you know. As
Okay.
commission.
Commissioners, is there any future agenda items that you'd like to be considered for the next meeting? Okay. I know we, item 5 is citizen comment period. I know we kind of, we took that up and we already had our citizen, Mr. Bruce Standler, speak. Do we have any other citizens that'd like to speak that are not signed up?
Shimmick. So I wasn't clear the purpose of tonight. I thought maybe the intent was for you to hear back from the community and then take that feedback and perhaps come back to another open meeting for the community to be able to hear some of the answers to some of the questions that we asked. And I know that You can't come up with all the answers right now. So I think it would be good just to maybe better communicate the way that these things work. If they're gonna be open sessions and a way for some of us to come give you guys feedback, I would expect that to be taken into account prior to a decision being made. But that may not be the way we do things. I would ask if it's possible for maybe in the future for us to do that, or I may have missed a meeting announcement and I wasn't here previously for this discussion. So I apologize if I did. But I think the next question as well, if you could please provide everybody feedback on this, will go to city council, and then I would expect they as well are going to be asking to hear from us as we vote them into their jobs, so that they can gather our feedback and take that to deliberate on versus just have us all come up and talk and then pretty much the decision seemed to already be made. So appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, just real quickly on the process, this is just the zoning for the property. Oh, we have, yes, hi.
Hi, my name is Mary Armstrong. I live at 8447 Bensel Lane, directly across the street from the development. And I also saw that on the letter we got that there would be a public hearing on Wednesday, August 5th. So I assumed we would be here like getting information back and forth and then coming back in August so we can give our feedback to y'all's concerns and questions, and y'all could give the same. So I didn't understand either that we would just come here and you'd make a decision and kind of basically blow us off. So now does this go to this, how does this work? Does it go to the city council and the city council says, yeah, we approve that?
I could talk to the process. This is our recommendation, and it will be going to city council on August the 5th at their next city meeting, city council meeting.
Okay, but if we came and spoke at that committee, we could change the decision because this is just your recommendation? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So yes, just for the public, just be aware the process. This is a recommendation to the city council. Now, our recommendation from planning and zoning will go to city council, and city council will have the final vote on the rezoning, and that will also be a public hearing, and you'll be available to voice your concerns or comments regarding the rezoning of this property. So, and that was all posted in the the legal notice for this public hearing on there. And so we're moving on to any other citizens that would like to speak before I move on to that.
Yeah, I'm James Wills. I live at 8467 Vinesville Lane. I'd just like to know like a time frame, because we're directly going to be affected. The entrance to this new development is directly in front of our house. So what's the time frame as far as how long this project's going to take? Is it going to take years, months? I mean, you know, I know there's a development behind our house, and it's been going on it's not done back there yet. So I'm just concerned about not only the traffic and the water usage, all that type of things, but we're going to be, I mean, immediately affected. As soon as I pull out of my driveway, that's where this site is. So I would just like to have some kind of time frame as to when this will be completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's 7 o'clock, and call the meeting to adjourn the meeting at 7 o'clock, and thank you for your attendance. Have a good evening.